Old friends are like warm hugs. You can pick up a conversation right where you left off, even if it's been months, never skipping a beat. I am so blessed to have those ladies in my life. And that's how I felt when I reconnected to do a quick catch-up with Leanne Jamison. It had been a while with life being as busy as usual, but within 10 minutes of our call, it was like throwing on my favorite robe and house shoes and getting comfy, grabbing a cocktail, and seeing who can laugh the loudest and the longest. Within a few minutes of our call, we connected over the conversation of gratitude. And it seemed that morning that both of us pretty much had the same experience with our thoughts on living in gratitude. So today, with my sweet friend Leanne, we're going to talk about just that, living life with extreme gratitude. With the two of us, who knows where this might go? Let's start a conversation, shall we?
Oh, we got to talk about that.
If we're going down, put your mask on first before you can help anyone else.
I'm about to spit out my coffee.
And margarita hour, here we come.
Welcome to Unconditionally Her Conversations, a podcast for women that sets the stage to spark inspiration, create change, and unite women from all walks of life. I'm your host, Karen Shane. This podcast shares that when we truly come together in sisterhood, we form a symphony of profound voices that have the power to transform each other's lives. So whether you're in search for motivation to chase your dreams, or seeking wisdom to navigate life's twists and turns, or just simply yearning to connect with some kindred spirits, well, you've found the place. Come along on this empowering journey as we explore captivating stories, conquer daunting challenges, and revel in the inspiring triumphs that shape the landscape of women's lives. Are you ready? Here we go. So, Leanne, I just want to ask how it seems to happen that people can just pick up right where they left off, no matter what length of time or how much you've been away from each other. Is that like a gift or of sisterhood?
I think about it as like a soul connection, right? Well, we have soul connections because there are some people that it's like, okay, it takes a minute to like warm up to them again. If I've seen them, I was just thinking about this woman that I went to school with and I haven't seen in a while. And, we would talk, we were friendly and stuff. And that's a little bit different than a soul connection, right? When we can pick up, when we can, just connect even if it's like every month or every week or every 4 years. Like I have friends like that too, where it's just like, seriously, holy cow, where did time go? And it's like, we don't skip a beat. Now, I think with that, that's more of that soul connection that you guys were meant to be. Like we're meant to be connected and it's meant to be this way. And it doesn't have to look any certain way. But there's also a real important recognition of what a gift that is to ourselves, what a gift that is to them when we reconnect that way, what a gift it is even to our families, I think, right? Like when we grow and we expand and have families, like I think about my friend Sherry, who we've been friends since high school, 30 years. I can't even remember what the reunion is, but
You're telling people your age.
I'm an open book. But, in recognizing how us maintaining connection, being able to pick up where we left off and recognize that like we're different people now too, like that itself. But when I'm thinking too of just like when I hear my daughter call her like Aunt Sherry, I'm just like, no, that's really cool, right? Like to have that connection that expands into our families as well. Of like, they get to meet these people that are so connected, so connected with us too.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm so soul connected. It's kind of like, it's a gift, but it's also natural. It's kind of, it speaks to our inner spirit and it's kind of like a validation, I guess, that you kind of found your person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's how I feel with you. I really do.
I was just going to say, it's very similar to like, and how would you stay connected? So it doesn't even have to be, people that you've known forever, right? Like I was talking about for 30 years, but when you align, when you follow like these always think about them as like little breadcrumbs, like leading us the way of just like, oh, maybe that breadcrumb is a post, or maybe it's Kia, or maybe it's, like Caleb, like the people that, like, you think about what had to happen for all of us to connect in a certain way, for us to connect in a certain way. And I'll just keep it right there. Of course, it's divinely orchestrated. That's how I see it.
I agree. I do agree. It is divinely orchestrated in some way, shape, or form. But when we were last talking and we just kind of lost each other a little bit in the spring, we decided we weren't going to have a busy spring and summer. And both of us had a fabulous, wonderful, busy spring and summer. The time just kind of got away from us. But our conversation that day were that we were both feeling such gratitude. And I'm in Nashville, you're outside of Buffalo, New York. Yet both of us, this is so cool. That day, both of us were on a walk independently and just taking in the beauty of where we are. And I don't know about you, but that's pretty awesome. And then we had to get on a call. So, you know, that speaks to me from a podcaster that we have to have this conversation about gratitude because both of us were feeling it and we're just at this place. And I don't know about you, but I feel like something has kind of changed in my life recently. And I'm feeling such a deeper sense of gratitude with everything and with everybody around me. And it's just such a great feeling. And you were talking about that you were just kind of walking your dog also and just like looking around and feeling that way. And I guess, do you know what specifically kind of got you there?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and when I'm looking at it, right, reflecting on it, gratitude is actually one of the first practices that I started in my journey into entrepreneurship and where I am. And that was the one staple that I just kept to. I'm like, you know what? I want to focus on the gratitude of what I do have, right? Because so much of our time and our space can be spent of like, well, I don't have this, or I'm supposed to be doing this, or I need to do this, or so it's really been embedded in my life. And sometimes when I feel that hectic, overwhelming feeling, I bring it back to basics, right? I bring it back to just gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. What's around you? Who are you connected with? What got me to that space that day is a lot of like, I mean, there's so many different moments, right? That got me there. Um, Really though, I had been intentionally slowing down
I'm
every
doing a happy
day.
dance. See me doing a happy dance?
There's like so much power in the pause of just like, wait a minute, like, because so much is like the rat race. And you lose sight of what, I'm going here next, and I have to do this next, and this is my next launch, and this is my next whatever it is, right? And being able to just bring it back and slow down with intention has been so powerful in my life. And it has allowed so much more space for joy and for flow of that connection of like, that's where I was. And that's where, when I'm in a space of slowing down and going internally, that's when I tend to be like, oh my gosh, I haven't spoken to Karen in forever. What is she doing? And getting that little, like, that internal nudge. I felt like a spiritual nudge. Like, it's, why don't you check in with this person? Or why don't, you haven't talked to this person in a while. It's important to reach out or whatever. Right. So when we slow down, we can listen to those messages. And that's what I mean by like, there's that divine sort of guidance internally, everything that we're doing.
And I love that you said that. And I love the fact that we were independently the day before we got on that call. Finally, we were literally doing the same thing, two different worlds. And we took that moment and now we can share with everyone else kind of, hey, I love that, the power in the pause. And, it's kind of a state of mind. You can go through all of this gratitude, and you and I both studied psychology, and you studied a lot more. And we can study this, and we know about dopamine, and we know about the serotonin, and all that gratitude helps us, what it all triggers in our physical bodies.
Right.
But it is such a powerful state of mind. And I don't know where, if it is that we consciously try to slow down, because you're not slowing down. It's mental. I mean, you're really not. Look at you.
Exactly. Well, again, it's the slowing down is the soul. Like I call it's the mindset, but it's also like a soul set. That's what I always call it. It's like this soul set shift of like my soul is like, okay, it's time to just be more intentional, right? It's time to just like, spend some. I always think like I'm spending time on the mat, and that's like work. Like I think about it that way. I'm like, that's my work for the day. That's my work. That's going to bring me more in alignment with gratitude, more in alignment with the feeling of gratitude, not just the mindset, but the feeling of the joy of everything that we get to do, the connections that we get to make. But yeah, you're right. Somebody was saying, and I think it was one of my mentors. She's like, "And when life gets lifey," I'm like, I really like that. Life gets lifey,
Oh, wait, I'm writing that down. When life gets lifey.
right? Because life is going to get lifey, and there's nothing externally too much that has changed. It's all internal. I'm still running my groups. I'm still connecting with women. I'm still writing my book. I'm still creating programs, and I'm still having retreats, and I'm still doing all of this, but it's with ease, right?
Mm.
It's with this ease because I've paused. I've taken the time. I've been intentional. Otherwise, where I know that I've been in the other space where I'm just like grasping at straws, and I just feel that's when I start to feel overwhelmed and burned out. Right. And that's not where gratitude lives. That's not where the power that we do have to live in ease lives. So I recently made this post where it was just like, it was like just different tips for like new female entrepreneurs. And I think it's really important for people to know because we always hear about how hard it is, how much you have to do and all this stuff and all the different hats that you use or have to wear, which is true. And I put it like my tip was it's not meant to be hard all the time.
Mm.
It's not like it's not meant to be. We're making it too difficult. So when I know that I'm making my life too difficult, when I'm not flowing, that's when I'm out of alignment with that gratitude and I'm not listening. So, uh, gosh, I forgot what the original question.
No, no, it's just how that moment of feeling what you were feeling. But I want to talk to you about, okay, put on your therapist hat here, put on your psychology hat. How has your understanding of gratitude evolved over time?
Yeah. I would always hear when I was younger in this profession and as a psychologist, as a psychotherapist, it was the attitude of gratitude. It's an attitude. It's an attitude. It's an attitude. And that was like really just thrown. And it was just like but what they were trying to express to me was that like you embody it, you live it. You don't just think it, you live it, you express it, you experience it, right? So that's how it's changed. It was more about the mind and like the practice of it. Now, don't get
Hmm.
me wrong. I still practice. I still had my gratitude journal. I still wake up with gratitude. I still send love to, my hurting knees when I'm going for like a run, like whatever it is, Um, but it's the embodiment of it where you're living and you're breathing and like this, like, I almost want to say like awe and wonderment of it all, this, oh my gosh, look at everything that I've been given. Um, yeah. And sometimes in my mind, what just happened was like, well, that sounds so privileged, Leanne. And guess what? Like when you look around, when I think about looking around at the world, it's like we're all given the same sun, the rain, like it shines on us all. How do we experience it though? Do we say, oh my gosh, it's too hot, I can't do this? Or we say, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful I have,
Yeah.
the sunshine because anyway. So
It
that's how I feel like it's shifted for me. What about you? It's
well,
like,
I
yeah.
golly, I find for me at 56 years old that I am just now getting to a place that, oh, I got a little emotional there, where I can give my gratitude the attention that it deserves. I know. I wish I had done this 10 years ago. And I'm frustrated that I didn't do it 10 years ago. I asked myself, was my life too busy? I mean, at 46, I was looking at, okay, am I in the right career? Am I good? Am I going to be able to survive? Retirement? Was I, there was so much noise going on in my head that I didn't feel like I was embracing gratitude. I was just living life, or I guess life was living me at that point. And I was
Yeah.
trying to get that place all along, but I guess I wasn't done with what the proverbial checklist was in life. And now that I'm a little older and I feel like I can slow down a little bit, not that I do, there still is that state of mind in my head that the gratitude now speaks to me more.
Mm.
And it actually happened this morning. I woke up pouring down rain and I was like, I am so grateful for the rain.
Yeah.
And I got up and I went in the other room and I got myself my sweet iced tea that I get every morning. And I thought to my dog came over and Dolly kind of looked at me and I said, I am so thankful for you. You're just a little light in my life. And I realized that before I got done with my shower this morning, I had said 3 things I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
And I didn't even consciously do it, but it wasn't until I actually sat down to get my notes out for this podcast that I went, wow, okay, this is good.
Mhm.
But why am I 56 and I didn't do it at 46 or 36?
See?
But I guess, do you think, oh, this is a loaded question. Prepare yourself. How, what, it's almost like self-worth and self-satisfaction kind of correlates with gratitude. And maybe that doesn't come until you're a little bit older. And I'm not talking about the self-worth you get from other people. I'm talking about your own self-worth.
Mhm.
Is there a correlation there? You think?
Yeah, I think so. I think, by offering gratitude, you can also offer gratitude for yourself and what you have created, right? So let me look at this for a second. As far as
I
just
knew
like,
this would stump you.
yeah, as long as when we're looking at self-worth, it's when you look at the things around you and what gets to happen for you, like that creates a sense of stability and how do I want to say this? The self-reflection that allows you to offer gratitude for your life helps you see more clearly the
Mm,
worth, the worth that you provide in just being, not for producing, not for, like what, but just being, right? Just like the tree is being, and you offer gratitude for its shade and for its nourishment, if it's, a fruit bearing tree or whatever it is, right? But like I always think about like the shade. Like I'm so grateful that this beautiful, I remember, okay, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I'll bring it back. There was this willow tree that was at our cottage, and I loved that willow tree. And I would offer gratitude for it and see the beauty in it all the time. And when we are able to do that and then to reflect it back in ourselves, to see the beauty within ourselves and to see the gratitude for what it offers and what we offer just in being, right? That tree didn't have to do anything, but, it grew and all that stuff. But it's like just being. And when we can do that, that ripples inward and it ripples outward, right? When we think about just that embodiment of gratitude, it's again going back to living and breathing gratitude. You can have that gratitude for everything that you've been through as well, right? When you reflect on your life, the gratitude that everything that you've gone through, for everything that you've gone through. We actually just talked about this today in group a little bit of just the resiliency and offering gratitude for these younger parts of us that have gotten us to where we are and continue, right? We can, because a lot of times you hear this a lot, at least I do in my line of work, of just like the trauma that was created and like these traumatic experiences that we've gone through. Yet we forget that we made it through that our younger self kicked ass and made it through, right? And it got us through that moment so that we could get on to the next moment. And we wouldn't be here without her. right? We wouldn't be here without all of those younger parts of ourselves. And I think in being able to shift it to gratitude for all of the experiences that we've had and the younger parts of us that got us through that, that creates that self-worth. So of course, when we can look outward and say, gosh, I'm so grateful for this. And then that's a reflection. Our outer reality is always a reflection of our inner reality. So that bounces back and ripples back into us, but also taking the time to recognize, like, I always have a picture of my younger self, right? I always have her chilling right next to me. So I can, right, remind her and offer her gratitude, right? Is it? I love it. I love it.
I'm going to take a picture because she's holding up her younger self. I'm holding up a picture of my mom when she was 50 years old. She graduated college, and I'm standing next to her, and accompanying us is her two sisters. That's the most precious picture because I was able, where I was in my life at that time, to pay for my mom's education. And she didn't lack much to get a bachelor's degree, but it set her on a whole new path to where she is in such a good place financially now, much better than she would have been. And I have this that sits right here at my computer all the time. It just reminds me of family, but it also reminds me of the gratitude that I had that I could do that for my mom at one point. And then just the pride. She was getting her bachelor's when I was getting my master's. So it was a lot of fun. We actually took one class together. But I know, and I think we need more of that. I think we need to see our younger self and see the gratitude. There are people going to be listening to us. There are all these different ages, but it's not the age. It is the state of mind. And we're living in such challenging times right now.
Yeah.
And there's so much negative noise, and you almost get wrapped up in it. I know I do. Get wrapped up in it. And for some people, it's really, really hard to get out. And I feel like that we as a country, we as individuals, we need to look closely at what got us where we are and be thankful, and then make the change we need to make in order to have a more productive life.
Yeah.
Okay, I got preachy. So
don't apologize. There's no apologies. This is your truth. This is your passion, right? When we think about it, we choose every day how we want to live. I mean, I'm not ignorant to external factors. I'm not ignorant to what is going on in the world, which is often what I'm told. Like, oh, you must be ignorant. Like, you must not know. I'm like, no, I am very aware of what is happening in the world. And I consciously and intentionally choose to approach it in a different way. That is, and again, that's practice. We practice gratitude. It's not something that comes it does not come naturally. It doesn't, right? We have been wired through conditioning. We are wired to actually look at the dangers rather than like what is in abundance. Gosh, I was just talking about this today of just like taking out the busy. During one of my trainings, I'm like, no, I don't say busy. I say, this is such an abundant life that I get to live. Right. Because busyness has this negative connotation, and we can wear it like a, badge of honor too. I'm just so busy. I'm just so this, and to really rewire what we're saying, what we're thinking, and how we're feeling. So it's an intentional, like when we say, like, let's be grateful for what we do have and how we want to create something different. Yes, is the world messed up? Yes. Right. Like, I mean, like there's stuff going on. There are things that are happening that hurt my heart and my soul to see and know. And am I going to choose to live in that space, or am I going to choose to do something different? Right. And by healing, right, when I think about, just even the trauma part of things, like I'm not denying that we haven't experienced trauma. What I'm challenging is that we see it in a different light that is more empowering. Gratitude is part of that. Gratitude is a big part of that. So we can see ourselves clearly of like, gosh, I survived that. And I have a story, like inspiration. That's what I want, like an inspiration to share from that. I guess I'm going to go on a little tangent about shame, because what prevented me from being able to see my younger self clearly, the person who was bulimic, who self-harmed, who was really depressed, was really, really scared, was really, really hurt, and a lot of different things happened to her and because of her. That was me. I lived in shame about her rather than looking at her and being like, you really used every possible coping skill, whether it was healthy or unhealthy, to get us through that. Like, thank you. You knew that it was important for us to live and to keep living and to keep moving forward. So thank you. Right. There's this really beautiful Hawaiian meditation. It's Ho'oponopo, and it's this forgiveness meditation, and it's about self-forgiveness.
Mm.
And it's one of my absolute favorites because it's essentially you talking to like your younger self saying like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that like I didn't listen to you or that I ignored you for so long or that I didn't see your strength. Please forgive me. I love you. And it's this whole awareness of just how powerful we are spiritually, emotionally when we live in that space, right?
We talk about being intentional. Tell me about gratitude journals. I love them. I had a friend just give one to me the other day. And do you journal? Or I think you said you did journal. And do you feel that that is important at any age or at any stage to kind of look back at times? And I guess I wish I'd have journaled long, long, long time ago. Or maybe I'd gotten here. Fast.
Let's have for gratitude that you're here now so people don't even make it. I had somebody remind me of that. I'm like, oh, it took me 10 years to do this. And one of my friends from school, he said, some people never make it. So congratulations. I'm like, thank you for that reminder.
That is great. That's great. So
Yeah.
talk about journaling and why that should be important, or because there are people that go, oh, I just don't write. I'm not a writer. I don't have time. But really, it is. And I think part of Unconditionally Her is honestly my journal. I just wrote an article for, I guess it's in August, for women equality, and I wrote one on World Humanitarian Day. And I was sitting there, and as I was writing it, I was researching women, particularly that have contributed to the humanitarian efforts. And as I was reading and researching, I realized, doggone it, I'm journaling because I was writing, and then at the very end, I got all emotional. But it really made me stop. And I guess this is part of the magazine and the blog. It's just such a cathartic um, act of self-love
Yeah.
because it feels like it gets you where you need to go just a little bit faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we need constant reminders. When we think about the undercurrents, I'm getting a little psychological on you, but like when you think about the constant undercurrent of messages that are happening in our thoughts, right? Whether like we're a show not aware, there's like 65, anywhere from 65 to 95,000 thoughts a day we have. Okay. And when you think of like we're only aware of 10%, which is still a lot actually, but we're aware about 10%. Those undercurrents of thoughts are typically not very nice. They're not, there's this undercurrent of like, you should be doing that. You should be doing this. Oh my gosh. Did you really think that? Did you really wear that today? This inner critic that lives within us pretty consistently. Right. And we're not aware of it, and that impacts us. So what journaling does, first of all, it's a couple different things. I bring that one up because we have to flood our thoughts with the opposite, like with intentional positivity, with intentional joy, with intentional gratitude. Like it has to be very intentional because most of the time we are truly on autopilot. Most of the time. So, I mean, whether that's us breathing or whatever, but like our thoughts and our like how we're behaving and what we're doing, all on autopilot. So that's one aspect of it is like being intentional, giving yourself the space to actually say, like, what is it? Like, let me think about it. Because again, we're so used to just saying what's next and what do I have to do and what didn't I do? What did I get done? What didn't I get done? Where it's just like, let me just offer gratitude for what is right now. So that's one aspect of it. but the ritual of it as well, of like giving yourself the space and the time to actually think about, right? What is around me? What am I grateful for? And again, you can do this. It doesn't have to be a specific way, right? For you, you mentioned the blogging. For me, I love journaling. I like blogging too, but I love journaling. Some people just like doing posts. It's like um, more of their record of like pausing for gratitude. Some people draw, paint. Gratitude comes out. So just give yourself the space to feel the gratitude. That's the other thing. It's not just, sometimes it is, I will say, sometimes it is just mindless because it's like, let me just get into this ritual first, where it's just like being intentional. But then the next step is like really feeling it, really giving yourself the space to feel the gratitude, to just sit with like that specific gratitude. Cause some people, I know that when I'm just like, okay, then this was more in like like when I was running treatment centers and running groups and stuff like that in treatment centers, they would be like, I'm grateful for my grandmother, my dog, my blah, 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 blah. Right. And they would just like have a list, which, okay, that's a nice start. Let's expand upon that. Why are you grateful for your grandma? What has she done? How does she make you feel? Like, why are you grateful for the deer that crossed the road? That was one of the things. I got grateful for the deer that crossed it. Why? Why are you grateful for the deer? Well, it was a symbol, right, to me that I'm being watched over, taken care of, blah, 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 like whatever, right? So it's like getting a little bit deeper on that too. So there are a lot of different levels of like being able to offer gratitude and journaling with that. For me, the practice of journaling is more ritualistic. It's sitting down and feeling the gratitude for that. Sometimes I can feel it in the moment while I'm walking my dog, like the day that I did with you. Sometimes I need to sit down and write it. It's more empowering. And there's also something too that I have included. And this is just a little tip for anybody that might fall into like the fears, like scarcity mindset more so, where it's like they fear like their financial stability and stuff like that. This has been really powerful of just like, I'm so grateful I had the money today to go get an ice cream. So grateful I have the money today to put gas in my car, right? That's just like a different way of looking at it, like financially, because I know a lot of women specifically. So I'm speaking from like a women's empowerment coach, uh, have scarcity mindset and have a lot of different, what do I want to say, underlying relationship issues with money.
Right.
But anyway, so that's just like another aspect of gratitude as well, is like recognizing, because so much, I don't have enough money for this. And oh my gosh, inflation and this and that. That's a great way to like bring it back to like, what do I have in my life today? And and here's the thing too, is that when we are practicing this, whether it's, waking up and just offering gratitude or writing it down, we're actually shifting the energy in our body to be able to attract more abundance, right? To be able to bring in and recognize what we do have. And that brings us even more joy. So if you want to be in more states of joy, higher states of joy, gratitude is a great practice and a great ritual to have.
That's true. Journal, journal, and journal. And I think Unconditionally Her should come out with a journal. What do you think?
I do love that.
Go with too. Okay, you've given me an idea. Okay, since you are a women's entrepreneurial leadership coach, I could go down the list, but I'll stop there. What role do you think gratitude plays in women's leadership and in their ability to inspire others?
Oh my gosh.
And for everyone that's out there listening, her eyes just went, like her face lit up and Leanne's eyes rolled in the back of her head and then they came out and then it was just like, I got fire. So go.
So many ways that we can inspire. I mean, like when you think about gratitude and what it offers you and the energy that it offers you, first of all, it comes that allows you to lead from inspiration, right? Think about it. When we're stuck in this, like the comparison mode or like I got to get this down to blah, blah, it just, I don't know. It just makes me cringe. Like, cause that's my experience with leadership is like, you got to do this, you got to da, 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 da. And there's no room for inspiration. So to unravel that and actually just begin your own practice, don't expect your boss to be like, start writing gratitudes. This is for you to take on and for you to offer, because when we come up from a place of gratitude, again, gratitude offers inspiration, joy, more laughter, more ease, more connection, right? That connection part of it. So as a leader, when we lead from just in that a place of gratitude, we are able to see other women's strengths, right? We're able to create an environment that is more filled with ease and connection because we feel safe, we feel taken care of. And that like energetically vibrates out, but also when you feel safe as a leader, coming from a place of inspiration, right?
Wow.
So to be able to, I mean, if you really do want to, 'cause I know a lot of leaders that have come, for me anyways, that have come from inspiration, and those who have come from a fear base, and they're vastly different in the way that I felt. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to become, a women's empowerment coach and leader, and to help women in their businesses lead from a place of inspiration, because I see what could happen from a place of inspiration and creativity and support, rather than you're going to get in trouble and you're going to be fired and you're going to be this and you're going to be that or whatever. Fear breeds fear, inspiration breeds inspiration. Right? That's what we want more of.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that I've read somewhere, and I cannot pull it out of my brain right now, but I will say I have read the greatest leaders also journal.
No, get it.
No, the women, I'm sorry, women leaders.
Yes.
Actually, that one of their habits is journaling, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, one last question, because I know we got to wrap. But and I could literally go on and on and on. What has that feeling of gratitude that you experienced on that walk, as well as in your general day to day? What has it inspired you to do? Something new, improving what you have? What did you think about on that walk?
Oh my gosh. Um, was that the day that I thought about reaching out to Fia? I think it was. So it leads so much inspiration. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that you asked us. Okay. So let me try to wrap this up. First of all, just being present, and again, recognizing the power in the presence and the power in the pause of just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. When we are opened up to that, that's again, inspiration flows. And I'm like, oh my, I'm going to move on this. I've been thinking about having a healing festival for so long, so long. Can't say so long, probably a couple of years. I'm like, I'm going to take action. I've been talking more and more about it. I've been reaching out. And then on that walk too, I'm like, I really want to reach out to Fia, who is a songwriter and a singer. And I mean, like, I adore her. She's in so many of my meditations when I'm playing, my energy sessions. That's what I do also for women, the somatic experience. Anyways, all my women know her. She's just so amazing. So I reached out to her. So yeah, it inspires me to do something different, and something it allows for me, and maybe I need to find the research behind this, to move past my fear and past my self-doubt. And when it comes to me, to know that it's meant for me to follow. Just like reaching even the smaller things of just like reaching out. Hey, you should really connect with Karen. I haven't seen her in a while. Right.
Mhm.
Like allowing yourself to lead from within rather than be like methodical or, oh, I got to do that. Anyways, it's just a different feeling. Yeah. So it does. I mean, when we are in a state of gratitude, it opens up, because when you think about it, gratitude really lives in our heart, right? Our love, and it comes from the heart. So when our heart is more open, we're more open to that creativity. We feel safer to become vulnerable. So there's so many benefits, like you were saying, the benefits of just like the endorphin release, but also what behaviors, what actions we take from a place of gratitude. Right.
Well, let me just say, I am so grateful for you You gave me another business idea while I was sitting here. And just for, and just for all of those listening, it's kind of funny. Poor Leanne doesn't reach out to me for a while, and then she reaches out, and then I'm like, "Hey, I'm coming to Buffalo." She says, "Oh, I'm picking you up at the airport, so be careful when you reach out. Somebody might expect you to pick them up at the airport."
That was a leading from inspiration. Like, you're up there.
There'll probably be another podcast on that. We'll probably sit in your living room having a cocktail and just gibbering about life, and we'll probably hit a button, and there's no telling what'll come out. But everyone, remember gratitude and the power of the pause. For more about Leanne, you're going to see all that in the show notes. We love you. We thank you. Watch every month because we talk about your events. All about the events that are coming up that you can share with Leanne, both online and in person. We love you. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I will see you at the airport.
So excited.
I am too.
Love you
so much.
So grateful for you.
Thank you, Leanne, for joining us. We thank you for your wisdom, your vulnerability, your knowledge, and of course, that contagious laugh we love so much. To learn more about Leanne, please visit her website at instituteforfemaletrailblazers.com. And if you're looking for that unconditional female extended community, please give us a look at unconditionallyher.com. Subscribe for free for all our articles, announcements, upcoming podcasts, and workshops. And if you love this podcast, please share with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Unconditionally Her Conversations at iHeart, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. Until next time, ladies, be blessed, be inspired, be empowered, and always be unconditionally